Can you guys hear me all right? Are you guys able to hear me with that moving picture up there? I don't think y'all can. You could hear me with the moving picture, Web Savvy? Let me know, let me know. I like to give y'all a little something better to look at than just my plain picture. Okay, let me know if you can hear me now when I switch the picture. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I don't know if you guys are power fans like me. Oh, you're welcome, Tyrone. Thank you. I try to come back around and get back to everyone who supports me. I try to support you just the same. So thank you. Thank you. And shout out to you all for coming in. I know this is a late one. I had to change the time to a little bit later. In fact, I had to move some things around because usually on Sunday evenings I try to do a game night. However, I'm gonna start trying to do that in the middle of the week, like a hump day game night. Since this show is back on, I have been covering this show on my YouTube channel every season, and tonight was the premiere of the first episode. So I definitely wanted to be in the building speaking on tonight's episode. So shout out to Web Savvy Cafe, who is in the building, Tyrone Morgan, Really TT, Edward Smart, Sharonda the Goddess. I know Primpin' Ain't Easy TV was in the building earlier. Miss Full Roller was in the building earlier. However, they may have had to bounce since I had to push the time back. And if that's the case, I totally get it. I understand. It's all good. Hey, Robert Gant, thank you so much for popping in. Shout out to Robert Gant. You all, if you guys did not get a chance to check out our Subby's Choice live stream from the other night, Robert Gant was the subscriber who picked the topic, and the topic was on marriage. Whether or not people marry for love or for show. So that was definitely a good conversation. I really enjoyed it, and we are going to try to incorporate more of those live streams into the catalog. Okay, so I'll be putting out more polls here to see what you guys want to come on and talk about. I think that was really fun. Also, we've been celebrating July for the month of July. That is a challenge that Primpin' Ain't Easy TV and myself are kind of promoting here on YouTube, where we have challenged ourselves as well as you all that are content creators to go live every single day the month of July. If you can't go live, drop a premiere and use the hashtag JuLive. So that was dope. Yesterday we did a do-it-yourself DIY. We made a headband and we did it live on camera over at Primpin' Ain't Easy TV's channel. And you guys, it was so fun. It was so fun. Primpin' Ain't Easy TV had some games for us and everything. We played the games while on the panel. It was interactive. You guys in the chat got to participate, and we actually made some really cute headbands. I still need to upload the video of my finished headband. I was so proud of myself, and I'm telling y'all, I can't wait to make another project. I finally got my hands in the crafting and project basket, and now I'm ready to touch something else. But again, so that was my shout outs to you all. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to jump right into tonight's episode because I know some of you all may have watched, and I am just curious to see what our thoughts are on this new spinoff from the Power franchise. So I'm going to jump right into it really quick. I'm going to just give you guys a quick recap based on the notes that I took and see what you guys thought down in the chat. Okay, so definitely feel free to chime in, and we'll let it roll. Let me get these comments up here. So basically, let me bring this up. Yes, the headbands were so nice. Oh my God, you guys can't tell me nothing. Now I can't wait to wear my headband. I might wear it tomorrow just to take it to work and brag. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to bring some pictures up. So I hope that you guys can still hear me as I switch the pictures around. So basically, are you guys able to still hear me? Somebody put a 1 in the chat just to let me know if when I switch the pictures, you all can still hear me. I'm still drinking hot tea, y'all. Still trying to get my little throat back together. Can y'all hear me with the new picture up? Because I be done got to talking. And, okay, cool. Yes. Awesome. Hey, Miss Full Roller. Thank you so much for coming back. I know y'all was like, this girl done changed the time. I apologize for that, guys. I thought since I did it, it was like maybe an hour before that I would be okay. People would see it. But of course, because the chat room is still open, I could see how that would create some confusion. So yes. Okay, so look. Power, Book 3, Season 1, Episode 1. It was titled Raising Kanan. No. I'm sorry. I take that back. Power, Book 3, Season 1, Episode 1, Raising Kanan. That's basically the title of the show. Now, we already know from the previous episodes of Power that Kanan was the character played by 50 Cent. Okay? The rapper 50 Cent. We already know that he's dead. So what this season here is doing is it's the prequel to the sequel, and it's taking us all the way back to his younger days and how he got started and how he turned out to be the crazy cat that he became. Okay, so the title for tonight's episode was Back in the Day. Now it was set in 1991 in South Jamaica, Queens, where we met 15-year-old Kanan Stark. Now, Kanan Stark is basically eager to join his family's growing drug business that is led by his mother, Raquel, aka Rock Thomas. That's the picture up there for you guys. That's his mother, Raquel, and that's a young Kanan. Now, the episode began with us seeing basically 1985. 50 Cent is narrating the whole episode. Yes, Web Savvy. I love that too, because it put it into more perspective. He's narrating the story of Kanan, and they're on the playground, and we see young kids fighting. You know, typical thing you see that happening on the school ground. I see Really TT. Yeah, y'all. Really TT is driving, so we want her to stay safe on the road. Now we see a young Jukebox and Kanan on the playground, and a fight breaks out. Now we see a young Jukebox. I don't know if y'all remember, Jukebox was the crazy lesbian chick from the other episodes, which turned out to be his cousin. Remember now, they're all kids, okay? So he gets into a fight. Basically, he gets bullied by these two older kids. They're more popular, they're kind of thuggish, and they're holding her back so she can't get in and help her cousin. And they jump him. And she's trying to get in there and protect him from getting beat up, but of course he ultimately does get beat up. Rock, as in rock cocaine. Yes, and we're smart. Yes. Okay. Now, embarrassed by being punked in front of all of his peers, a chubby little guy gets up off the ground and quickly realizes that the hood has no love for people who run. But he takes off, nose bleeding, and runs home nonetheless. Now, when he arrives at his crib, his mom and her drug dealer boyfriend, Hot Post, they're sitting at the dining room table, counting up money and bagging up dope. Post mentions to Raquel, looks like he had another run-in at the park, when she then gets up to go check in on her son. Now he asks her if she wants him to go talk to him. Meanwhile, the verbal narrative of the adult Kanan is speaking to us in the background. telling us that Post is the one who got his moms into the dope game in the first place. He also tells us that Post would be dead within a year. Now, someone lit him on fire for snitching, is what he said. And he also shared that he liked him. He says he treated his mom good. Raquel goes upstairs to see about her son and finds him crying on the bed. Now, when she inquires about what happened now, he shares with her that Taj and Antoine jumped on him and took his money. She gets on him about running his mouth and tells him, "What I tell you about letting them boys know you got money?" And he's like, no, then she's like, "Well, that's the only way they could have possibly knew you had the money." And she also asks, "Well, where was Jukebox?" Jukebox was his older cousin, and she was supposed to be there to have his back. Now, I think it's also a little known fact here that in the previous episodes of Power, when we see Jukebox as an adult, she's a crooked cop. She's very manly, and I think it was quite obvious that she was a lesbian. Now, here in Power Book 3, we definitely do see that she's always been that way, even from childhood. She hung out with nothing but boys. She's not the most feminine girl. I think it just is what it is with Jukebox, okay? Just trying to set the scene for y'all. Now, she then leans over, talking about his mama, Rock, to the dresser and grabs a pair of socks out the drawer, y'all, and tells him, "We're going back to that park." She takes one of the socks and she starts putting what look like golf balls into the dang on sock. And she tells him, "We're going back to that park." And he looks like, oh my God. Now she literally drives him back to the park and makes him confront them boys. This show sounds a little like Snowfall. Really, Edward? I'm going to have to look that one up. She says, "We're going to go confront them boys from earlier that day." So he walks up, he sees the boys. His mom's standing there, and she tells him before he walks off, "You either going to deal with them or you going to deal with me." So he walks up on the boys, and the boys are looking like, "This guy, really? You actually bold enough to come back up here? Hey, prepping ain't easy. Welcome in." And he literally cracks the boy in the head with the rocks in the sock. That's all I could think of. Rocks in the sock. I used to know a girl when I was growing up who literally used to carry a big boulder around in a sock. So I was familiar with this tactic, but it was crazy to see somebody's mama telling them to do it, you know? So he cracks one of the boys upside the head with the rocks in the sock as she watches, smoking on her cool cigarette. Okay, and then the other boy standing there astonished and in shock, and he cracks him. And he keeps cracking him continuously. The boys are both on the ground bleeding. So that is how the whole episode starts off, okay? Automatically, instantaneously crazy. Now we fast forward to 1991. He's now in high school, okay? He's now in high school. So we see an older Kanan and his mother going to the high school, and they're sitting down meeting with the principal. She's an older Black woman, and she's talking with him and his mom about the fact that his test scores are phenomenally high. So even though the circumstances are as such that they live in the hood, his mama's deep off up in the dope game, he's very smart. He has the potential to get up out of the hood and change his circumstances. So the principal is talking to them about that, okay? She's trying to let them know that all they need to do is take this test, and that she took the liberty of signing him up for the test. All she needed to do was obtain signatures from his mama. Mom's, of course, is excited. She wants better for her son. He's looking like, kind of perplexed. He's not really sure that that's what he wanted to do. Okay. So they're having this conversation with her. She's trying to get him into one of the area's elite high schools for gifted students, which apparently he is one. And his mom signs the paperwork and tries to convince him that she has big plans for him to get out of the hood. And it's clear that she wants more for him than what she's able to give him. Now, they leave from there. His cousin Jukebox, who again, we know from previous seasons, was a straight up beast. Okay, we saw that in previous seasons. There's a picture of Jukebox, and there's young Kanan. It was interesting to see Jukebox, though, as a youngster. We basically then see that they had a typical childhood, kicking it in the cafeteria with their friends. You know, they were just like normal kids, right? They're in the high school clowning. They're like sitting around the table, rapping and goofing off and just being kids. Next, we then see his mom and his uncle entering what looks to be a hospital of some sort, okay? This was the next scene. He says his uncle is definitely his mom's right-hand man in the business. She's actually his youngest brother. His name is Lou, Uncle Lulu. Turns out that one of their people, the cat's name was Reddy, got hit in a gunfight. So they were all basically congregating up at the hospital at his bedside, okay? Basically trying to piece together what went down. Now in walks Marvin. Uncle Marvin is Rock's older brother. He eating on some food. And 50 Cent's narrating still, and he tells us that basically he never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. I hollered. I thought that was funny because basically he's always around, but he ain't around, okay? But he said he's loyal, right? And he's the older brother. So he walks in, he's eating. He tells them that they want to strike back. But Raquel is definitely not feeling a war at the moment. She swears and insists it's too much heat. She then learns from her brothers that they got a little beef brewing with another crew over turf. She was a bit pissed to be hearing about all this because, again, they're in the hospital room, and this is the first time they're even talking to her about any of this. And she warns Marvin to handle that and let Reddy know she got him on his hospital bill, and then they basically bounce. Now we next see Kanan and Jukebox and their little friend Famous with a few of the other kids at the local arcade, enjoying a few rounds of video games, okay? They're playing at the arcade. Just then, Kanan walks over to the bill changer to get more quarters because, you know, they're teenagers hanging out at the arcade, playing video games, and he stops at the window in awe. Like he's literally starstruck. He's looking out the window, and it's Unique. Unique is the neighborhood kingpin. In his narrated voice, Kanan tells us everyone in the hood wanted to be him or be down with him. He looks on as Unique hops out on Davina, the girl that he was flirting with in the school cafeteria's boyfriend. I forget his name. I wrote it down somewhere. But anyway, he hops out on her boyfriend, and it appears that they're having some sort of exchange. And so he says to his friend, I didn't know that Unique put Buck on. That's the boy's name, Buck. Yes, that was the boy's name. Meanwhile, we then see Raquel and Lou pull up at an old building for a meeting with someone named Hugo. Now, once inside, a very condescending Karen came out with her puppy, and she was being very condescending and rude. And she tells them that Hugo is not there, but that any business that they have with him, they have with her. She's the publicist. She then looks at Raquel all up and down and tells her, oh, I know who you are. You're the drug dealer that Hugo made the arrangement with to sell your drugs here at the club. She then proceeds to tell her that she knows that Hugo made a deal with her to sling her dope in the club, but it's all stepped on, dirty, and ghetto. Not a good look, so they'll be going with her contact instead. Raquel looks at her dead in the eye and tells her, I bet you won't. And of course, they exchange B words with one another. Okay? Lulu then intervenes and asks Raquel to let him handle it. So she steps to the bar where the bartender, a very handsome man, introduced himself as Symphony Basket. And y'all, I wish I had a picture of him, but I couldn't find one. So he introduced himself, he pours her up a drink, and he lets her know while fixing her drink that his feelings are mutual about old girl, the Karen. He tells her that his name is Symphony Basket, and she's like, "Are you new here? I ain't never seen you here before." Okay. He tells her that he works the club 2 nights a week while studying urban planning at the city's community college, where he's pursuing his master's. So he's fine, and there appears to be some type of chemistry between them. But then Lou walks up and breaks it all up, and then they leave. So next we see they're all at Lamont's diner. The whole family. It is Raquel, her brothers, Kanan, Jukebox. They're all sitting around chilling. Apparently, this is a weekly ritual of having dinner there every Wednesday night. So they're discussing the opportunity that Kanan has been presented with to attend Stuyvesant High School. And Uncle Marvin teases Jukebox, asking her why she ain't get the same offer. She looks kind of pissed and states, "Excuse me, they told me that I was also eligible to go there, and when I brought it to your attention, you told me that it was useless and a waste of time." And he's like, "Oh, that sounds like some ish I probably would say." Now I'm confused. I think, yes, Symphony, Miss Full Roller. Symphony, you heard right, honey. I was confused. Web Savvy, if you saw the episode, I think Uncle Marvin is Jukebox daddy. What you think? Let me know what you think. Now then, Famous, his little Puerto Rican homeboy. Oh, that's him. I already had the picture up there. The little Puerto Rican homeboy with the green shirt on the picture, his name is Famous. They call him Famous. They had a whole little story behind it and all, but that, of course, is his nickname. So Famous shows up with his sister, Jessica. They've never met her before. Apparently, she was living with her grandma or something like that. So anyway, they show up at the diner. Jukebox and them clown like, "Quit acting like you didn't know that we don't be here every Wednesday." So y'all just was passing through. And Raquel invites them to sit down to dinner, lets them know she got them, she's paying. So they sit down. Okay, yes, that is her father. They got a very interesting dynamic, Web Savvy, but I thought that was her dad. Okay, so Fame tells Kanan and Jukebox he don't want Uncle Lou messing with his sister because he already peeped game. Uncle Lulu was at that, okay? He was all up on his sister trying to holler at her. So as Lou was macking hard all night, Juke and Kanan start teasing Famous about the fact that he been trying to be a part of their family since he was 5 years old. Quit tripping. You know, whether you come in through marriage or whatever, they was just clowning, right? So after dinner, they all stepped outside the diner. They're chilling. They're talking in the parking lot when somebody pulls up, shooting in the air. So everybody, of course, hits the deck. Nobody was hit, thankfully, so they all decided to skedaddle. Now, once at home, Raquel could clearly see that something was perplexing her son, and he lets her know that he knows who shot at them and that he knows what's up with the family business, and he wants in. Now, he did get a good look at the shooter, and I didn't realize until I rewinded it back, the shooter was actually Buck. Buck is the girl, Davina Harrison, at his school, is her boyfriend, the little young cat. So it's another boy his same age. So anyway, he tells his mama that, right? And she's not trying to hear no parts of that, talking about he wants in. He asks her what happens to him if something happens to her. She explains to him that that's why she keeps his granny in that rented house. In the event that something ever should happen to her, he can go stay with his grandmother. So the next day, on the way to school, Famous jokingly tells him that he should botch the Stuyvesant test on purpose so he can stay in the hood and look out for his mom. Next, we see Raquel meeting with Neek, the drug dealer, and she tells him that someone came at her and her family last night outside of the diner, right? The night before. And he very nonchalantly tells her it's all good. She tells him that his brother would never let such fool-la-la pop off. And he reiterates to her that he's running the show now. And that pretty much it is what it is, in that he got it under control, you know? So she also shares with him that she didn't appreciate his crew jamming up her people downtown the other day. So apparently, when her guy got hit in that shooting, what was the boy's name? Reddy? It was his people. But peep game, they're all in business together. But you know there ain't no what they say, ain't no honor among thieves. Okay, so yeah, we do business together, but I'm always looking for a way to stab you in the back, if you will. Okay, so anyway, she let him know she wasn't cool with that. She didn't appreciate that because it caused one of her guys to take a bullet. And again, he comes at her from it's all part of the game perspective. But his boys have been told to stand down and it's all under control. He then starts to mock her relationship with Post and the fact that he's gone now. Nevertheless, she doesn't back down. She stands 10 toes down and they continue to negotiate business. Now, meanwhile, we see what looks like Uncle Lulu is doing his thing with the Karen, the publicist from the club. When I say he was doing his thing, he was literally putting it down. Okay? And all of a sudden, they finish, and she's like, "Do you smell that? What is that smell? What is that smell?" Then all of a sudden, she gets up and goes and walks into her kitchen. And y'all, I'll be darned if that dang on dog wasn't in the microwave. Somebody done crept up in the house and put the dog in the microwave. And that sucker was on. Oh my God, that was disturbing. Okay. So I guess they were trying to send her a message that basically we most certainly will be moving our product up in that club. And if you know what's best for you, you shut the F up, okay? And chill out. So after that, on the hating publicist from the club, okay, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so afterwards, of course, she gets up, she finds it in the freaking microwave. Next day, Raquel's dropping Kanan off downtown at the Stuyvesant School for his big day to take that entrance exam, right? Yes, Miss Full Roller, they already getting grimy in the first episode. Okay, and just like that, this boy purposely fails the test. He literally went down and put all B's on the thing. I was like, oh my God. This is an instance when young people don't think. Like, dude, you could have aced this exam. You could have possibly gotten your education, gotten a better future for you and your moms, and moved up out of the community. But of course, he's not thinking that way. He's not thinking that far ahead into the future. So that's what he did. Next, we see the shooter, the boy Buck, meeting up with his mom on some corner. She's parked in the car, and he comes and he hands her the collar from the lady's dog. So basically, she done hired him to go and do the lady's dog. Okay, but what ends up happening is Kanan's little homeboy on the picture there, the one with the little black jacket with the white collar, his name is D-Wiz. D-Wiz peeped this exchange between Kanan, Mama, and Buck. So again, young people thinking, they ain't peeping game. They ain't putting two and two together. They don't know what's really going on. All he know is this is the boy who took shots at my homeboy the other night, and now he's meeting up with his moms. Okay, so Marvin. Oh wait, I'm jumping ahead. At the arcade, D-Wiz tells Kanan that he saw the shooter talking with his mom. Now, due to them, again, not really knowing what's going on, Kanan instantly gets heated. He's ready to go do some damage, okay? He's hot. He's like, what? Thinking, I guess he's still coming at his mom or whatever. So next we see Jukebox. She's sitting outside of this, like, ritzy, bougie-looking school for girls. Of course, it's mostly Caucasian people. We don't see any black people. So these three girls come walking out, and the two girls were like, "I'm sorry, are you lost?" And she's like, "I'm here for her." And then the two girls are like, "Do you know her?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is," I forget what Jukebox's real name is. And they're like, "Where do you know her from?" And she's like, "Where do you go to school at?" And she was like, Queens. And they were like, no, she said Jamaica. And they were like, the island? It was like they were totally oblivious. She was like, no, Jamaica, Queens. And they're sitting there all frowned up like, oh my God, how do you know this person? And she's like, we're in choir practice together, because they're schools, whatever. So she slips off with Jukebox. They go to this little, I don't know, look like they was on a rooftop somewhere. And they're talking about the future. They're talking about the fact that, their cultures are so different. They're kind of establishing a friendship. But in that moment, it allowed for us to see that what we had already been feeling, and also based off of previous episodes where we saw Jukebox as an adult, she really did have an attraction to females. She was just into girls. And for some people, that is what it is. Okay. So they kind of started to have this little lesbian moment where they were getting ready to kiss. But I think the fact that they're teenagers and one's black and one's white, they stopped. They kind of thought like, no, we shouldn't be doing this. But it did allow some insight into Jukebox being who Jukebox became, okay? So next we seen Marvin meet up with Raquel, and he tells her to go ahead, that they got to go ahead to move in to Hugo's club, and something about the lady's dog. And she was like, what lady? And he shakes his head because he already know his sister had something to do with it, okay? So next, we see Kanan and D-Wiz strapping up to go get at the shooter for his mother's honor. And it was Buck, Davina's boyfriend. Y'all, when we see Symphony and Raquel are out for dinner, so she done finally met back up with the handsome Symphony. I'm gonna have to make sure I definitely got a picture in here for the next time. They're out for dinner, and it looks like they're enjoying one another's company. They're in an upscale establishment, and you could tell that she was very intrigued, even though she's this roughneck from the hood, kingpin drug dealer woman. A nice looking man treating her like a lady. She was able to soften up and kind of relax and let her hair down. So they're just having a casual dinner talking, and he's letting her know all about what he's going to school for. They're discussing urban planning. And then in walks her brother Lou and tells her something has happened with Kanan. So of course, she gets up and was like, I gotta go. Now she goes in on Kanan. Did I literally? Yeah, I think I did skip. They did catch the boy. Did I tell y'all that? And they shot him and they killed the boy, right? So my bad, y'all. I think I skipped over that part. So she ends up, they get back to the house. She goes in on Kanan for screwing this whole thing up with this kill. The family is also giving Jukebox hell because they're like, where was you at? Because she's always supposed to be having his back and she ain't never around. Like, remember when he got beat up on the playground? Where was you at? Okay. She then tells him that she's sending him to stay with his grandmother and sends him outside to empty the trash. Now, when she sends him outside to empty the trash, a drive-by ensues. And thank goodness he hit the deck, y'all. So they didn't get him. They didn't get him. They missed. But it was definitely becoming clear real quick that Kanan was not going to be safe after this kill. Okay? So now, Officer, let me get his name right. I always forget. Officer Detective Malcolm Howard is played by Omar Epps. Look at Omar Epps, y'all. He still looked the same. But anyway, the detective shows up, and I guess he got a reputation for being crooked and kind of hardcore in the hood, but he's there to clean up the streets nonetheless. He shows up talking to them, and he basically lets Raquel know that he heard her son and his friends got a price on their head. She's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It was a drive-by. They had the wrong house. It was a mistake. She ain't talking to no popos. Okay, and he tells her, okay, whatever. Next, we see Raquel go and meet up with Neek again that next day to try to come up with a truce. But he's real disrespectful this time. I mean, real disrespectful with it. He tells her, basically, that he'll dead the bounty with his crew, but he has no control over the other cats that may want to pursue revenge. And Neek tells her that basically he wants all the corners. So basically, he ain't trying to have no truce with her going forward. And just like that, later on that night, in the middle of the night, Kanan is in the bed sleeping. She wakes him up and tells him to get dressed. He's not sure where in the world they're going. I'm thinking in my mind as I'm watching it play out, okay, she's taking him to the grandmother's house to get him out the streets. They end up going to this like open field. She starts talking to him about the stars and how they're always the hunter and never the hunted. And she then hands him a pistol and she trains him on the spot how to aim and shoot. She tells him he wanted to be in. Well, now you're in. And basically, this is the beginning, y'all. We see how it all started for the young Kanan that we saw in all the previous episodes of Power. And that concludes, y'all, my commentary for tonight's episode, which again was episode 1, season 1, Power, book 3 of Raising Kanan. All right, now I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are. What were your thoughts on the show? Anybody got anything you want to say? Anybody want to come up? No, Edward Smart, that was not a nice moms. That was crazy. That was definitely crazy. I don't know. Now you're in, baby boy. That bullet will be chasing you. Oh, yeah, she sure did tell him that. She said that bullet is out there in the atmosphere and you'll be running from it forever. She sure did say that, Web Savvy. Miss Full Roller. Now, just look at this picture. This was when he was in the cafeteria staring at Davita, just an innocent boy in school, looking at the girl of his dreams, the little young lady he was crushing after. You know, he didn't never think he was going to get into this life of crime. But look at him now. Look at him now. This was the day that they were preparing to actually go find the boy and shoot at him. And they actually did see him and they moved in. He ended up literally having to take that blue hoodie off and burn it because the boy's blood was all over it. And ultimately, the one who would begin to train him on the family business would be none other than his mama. Can y'all believe it? What are y'all's thoughts? Let me know. Let me know. Robert, did you watch? Edward Smart said, nice moms. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I think that was pretty much it, though. Let me know. You want to come up, Web? There's the link. I was being facetious. Okay, I thought you were, Edward. I was like, no. That is not good, moms. That was hardcore gangster mama there. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Just being the mother of 2 boys. Miss Full Roller says, goes to show that family is not always good for you. Facts, Miss Full Roller. Oh my God. Yes. All right, there go Web Savvy.
Girl.
It was crazy, right? I was sitting there like, oh my God, this thing is already starting off crazy.
All right. So I got a question for you. I want to know, did you catch this? Now, remember when she was like, oh my God, something smells horrible. And she went and got the dog. Well,
yes, that's what I thought. I said that like right after she got done.
You did,
was so crazy.
But now check this. Don't it look like Lulu was all like, oh, you just gonna leave? Like he didn't want her to go or something like that. And Now, how that other man gonna get in there? I think Lulu had something to do with that.
Lulu had to have something to do with it because he wasn't acting like he smelled nothing. And I know dang well they ain't putting no dog up in no microwave and you ain't smelled that. I'm just like, really?
Girl, that was a Godfather moment. I'm like, that was tricky.
That was crazy. Okay.
Ooh. So
that was straight crazy.
Rock was letting her know, like, okay, you mess with me if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I already knew. I was shocked when they went in the club and the lady was like, oh, I know who you are. You're that drug dealer that's supposed to be selling your dope in here. Mm-hmm. But your dope is all ghetto and dirty. I'm like, what? As if any dope is better than any other dope. Really?
Right. Yeah, it's like you knew she was coming for her after that.
I was like, oh no, she walked away too easy, honey. I'm like, girl, it ain't over for you, honey.
Right.
I know they was gonna do the dog.
Right, okay. And then you know how like Lulu was all like, I'll handle this, let me handle this. And I'm like, hold on, why you want to handle it so bad? Do you know her? Do y'all have past relations or what's going on here?
Oh, well, see, that's how you looked at it when he said, let me handle this.
Yeah, because he was just like, to me, he was too familiar, like with her, like, okay, let me deal with this. Let me deal with this. I don't know.
I just looked at it as if he was like, oh man, I got this because she's a chick. I'm gonna just finesse her. I'm gonna finesse her.
Okay.
I'm gonna finesse her.
Whichever case it was, Pandy, he finessed his way into her bed.
Exactly. And that's what I thought he was saying from the jump. I'm like, oh yeah, he got it. He got it under control. She won't be no problem.
And when I saw that microwave smoking, girl, I had to close my eyes. I was like, I don't want to see it. And I opened my eyes and saw that puppy.
Oh God. And my silly self was looking at it and I was just like, no, they did not put this dog in a dang microwave. Okay. That was too much. But what really kind of ticked me off, I ain't gonna lie, I was irritated with him botching the test. Like, why would you do that?
I know. It's like so many young men, he had made a decision where he wanted to be. And he was not going to allow him passing that test to take him away from that, what he wanted.
Yeah. And I think he dang well could have passed and would have passed, but he didn't want to leave his mama. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you're in a position to do anything for your mama.
Right. I think he not only feared for her safety, but he still wanted to be in that business bad. He kept, trying to get into it, saying, I know what y'all saying, and I know this, and I understand. He was just like, oh my God. But you know what? He made a good point, Pandy. Remember when they was discussing afterwards, and he said, you had me right here with you. So in other words, I saw everything. You didn't try to hide this life from me.
Exactly. And that is true. That is facts. He threw it right back up in her face and she couldn't dispute it. Because he was like, I done basically seen everything. He was like, you guys always around here talking in code. I know what y'all be talking about. Now, the other thing that I was kind of ticked off with too is when here it is. I mean, to some degree, you already got the boy halfway in the business. So since you got him halfway in the business, when he shared with you that he knew who shot or tried to shoot at him or whatever, I think she kind of brushed him off where she could have had more in-depth conversation.
I agree.
As far as, look, we got this under control. We're going to work through this. It's a truce. It's all good. But rather than doing that, she kind of left it up in the air, which is why he made the rash decision to go and pursue that boy.
I agree completely. Yeah, you're right.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And then he's telling her, well, I didn't know. Well, it wasn't your business. She told you to stay out of it.
Really, TT.
What really TT said? Oh, what?
Miss Full Roller's like, great narration. I was taking so many notes trying to make sure I did not miss anything. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And yes, like what she said, that short-term money looked better, but all money ain't good money.
Mm-mm.
Facts upon facts.
You
So
know, and
I'm
I didn't think
already
he wanted to be so involved with his family, in their business. He just couldn't see past that. He couldn't see that. And you know what? I gotta tell you, one of my girlfriends was telling me about her nephews, and they live in a bad area in New Jersey, and she was talking to them about getting out of that and going to school and leaving that area, and they were seriously like, why would I want to leave? All my friends are here, my family is here, the store is right down there. I'm not trying to leave. They couldn't see the forest for the trees, Pandy.
yes, yes, and that is how it is. Oh my goodness. Because as a mother of boys,
Mm-hmm.
now my children are grown.
Mm-hmm.
But when my older son got into middle school, like they always played sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always kept them in every sport, like soccer, football, baseball, basketball. Literally, I would try to keep them in stuff because I didn't want them to be influenced by the streets.
Right, keep them busy.
And they had two parents in the household, but I know just because you come from a two-parent household, you still have peer pressures, and outside influences that you could possibly be tempted by.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that once my older son got into middle school to high school, he started kind of dibbling and dabbling with the wrong crowd, getting in trouble and doing little stupid stuff, right? So I pulled him from the school that he was in and I put him at another school. That did it nothing but made him angry because in his mind, I was taking him away from his friends. I was ruining his life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
you couldn't understand what you was trying to do to help him. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was a problem. And then it began with all this rebellion and this, that, and the other. But thank God it was a hard couple of years, the first few years of high school. But finally, by the time he got ready to graduate, he kind of came to his sense and was like, okay, I realize now what y'all were saying, what's going on. And I literally think it was one of his friends getting shot that really made him open his eyes. Like everything we were saying to him, it was going in one ear and out the other. We didn't know anything. We were just trying to ruin his life. What did we know? And I'm like, oh my God. So I think him losing a close friend is what really was the eye opener for him. But I remember having those conversations and him saying, you're trying to ruin my life. Why are you trying to make me leave here? All my friends are here. And I'm like, boy, I don't give a damn about your friends. You ain't with all these people in this BS, So I know that struggle.
Yeah.
I know that struggle firsthand. Okay.
I know. My mother had that discussion with me when I was getting ready to go to high school. And the district that we lived in, they had built this brand new school, but it was in the same district. And she was like, no, I'm going to send you over here. I'm like, but my friends and my this and my that, and it's a brand new school. She was just like, fool, don't you know the same kids go there?
Okay, exactly. Exactly. And I was just so scared because I knew what was going on with them certain kids in the area. And a lot of the kids that he had been playing sports with, were getting into stuff. They were no longer playing sports. They was in the street life heavy. And I'm like, oh my God, these are kids that I've been seeing since he was in Head Start, preschool.
Yeah, little bitty kids, and now they grown into this.
And I'm seeing them now, and they're like sagging and being all disrespectful and looking high. And I'm just like, okay, nah, you ain't finna be hanging with them.
Right.
And of course, I'm the controlling mother. I don't let them do nothing. I ain't letting them live. I'm like, oh, well, you'll thank me later when you live. Okay? An entire life.
It's a good thing you were his mother and not trying to be his friend.
Exactly. Okay. And it's so funny now because he's married with 2 kids of his own. And we talk and joke about it all the time about how strict I used to be on them.
Thank you, Mama, for being strict on me. Thank you, Mama.
Okay. I was like, it was out of sheer love.
Thank you for loving on me enough Yes. Because I know you had to go through some stuff with him. I know it.
Oh my goodness. And the good thing is too, the two younger kids, like I have another son who is the middle child, and then my daughter is the youngest. They watched us go through so much with him. We didn't have those problems. I was like, I guess they seen him get it so much. They was like, we ain't even finna try that foolishness because they ain't happening.
Right. I agree with really TT. She was saying that, yeah, I saw that. She's gonna make sure they don't have time for no foolishness.
Exactly. And that's really the best thing that you can do. It was hard. Some days when I would come home from work, I didn't feel like going and packing up the kids and going and sitting down at the practice for 2 more hours after I just got off of work and traveling here and traveling there for games and this and that. But honestly, you have to find something constructive for the kids to do with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there's a whole big wide world of crap they can get off up into. That ain't gonna be right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, Mr. Full Roller. Yeah, see, me and Miss Full Roller, we both grew up in Chicago, not too far from each other, I don't think. But I lived in two different neighborhoods, and the one neighborhood she's gonna know why my mother said no is Inglewood on the south side, and she was like, no. So tell me if I'm right, Miss Full Roller. Tell me if you know. No, because at that school they was fighting every day, and it just kids wasn't learning anything, and she was just like, no,
Yeah.
And I was mad. Yep, just like your son. I remember, but I'm so thankful.
Right. Yeah, I remember back in the day too, they bust us way to another district. And we were like, well, why when there's a school right here next to our house?
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, looking back, it was probably the best thing that could have possibly happened because I wouldn't have had the experiences that I had I not been bussed out to the better district.
Right. So Kanan, just like he said in the story, he said, well, you already know, how my ending was, this is my beginning and all that. But yeah,
Right.
he did it to himself and his mother. It's not like she didn't try to explain it to him, but talking to them versus the actions that you take mean a lot. And he was right there underneath her all the time. When at the beginning, you even said it when he first came in, her and her boyfriend was there counting some dope money or something.
Yeah, they had the scale and everything all right there on the table.
Yeah.
So as soon as he come in the door from school, this is what he sees.
Yeah. So now you're gonna try to tell me don't do as I do as I tell you. Don't work like that.
Right. And I think like most mothers, she wanted better for him. She wanted him to pursue a more productive livelihood. But I mean, hey, Jessica, she wasn't presenting that. And then I don't think that she was equipped with the tools to be able to present it to him. She only knew what she knew. And that was her hustle.
Right.
So it was sad all the way around. But I did like how he summarized at the end. You already know how I ended, but now you get a chance to see how it began and what took place in between. So I think this is going to be a good, because I was for the life of me like, now how in the world they going to bring power back and everybody done got killed?
Yeah. They're doing 2 more after this one, and I think one of them is going to be about Tommy. I can't wait for that one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tommy is crazy.
I know, right? I'm like,
we're up too late. Yeah, this was a late one. I am going to go ahead and bring it to a close. I am sorry that I ran later than anticipated, but I wanted to come on and do this.
That's okay. I wasn't going to miss this because, I text you and I was telling you that, oh, man, I'm not going to be able to do the live like I would normally do for it. And then when I saw that you was going to do the review, I was like, yes.
Oh, you know what? I think my phone is off. It's on the charger, but it might have powered down because I think it had went dead when I plugged it up. So I need to check my phone.
So
I ain't looked at my phone in hours.
Because I wanted to talk to somebody about it so bad, and my husband, he wasn't interested in watching it. I'm like, oh, you weak. What's the matter with you? You know?
My husband wasn't watching it. He was half watching it, but he don't really watch it like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point where I told him, boy, this is a major spinoff to a major show. He was looking at me like, whatever.
Like, do you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Jessica, have a good evening. Thank you so much for popping in. I'm going to bring it to a close as well because guess what? I got to be to work at 8.
I know. Okay, I enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you guys so much for coming in. You guys, it's still July, so you guys be staying tuned for those lives and premieres that'll be popping up in your time feed throughout the remainder of these weeks this month. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming in. That concludes the recap and review on Power Book 3. This was episode 1 of the season. It was titled Back in the Day. I did my best to recap it. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you all did not remember to do so on your way coming in, please don't forget to blow dry on that like button. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. You all have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you all in these YouTube streets. Peace. Thank you all so much for coming through and kicking it with your girl. I hope that you guys enjoyed yourself. And if you have not already, don't forget to blow dry on my like button. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? It is free 99 after all. Make sure you double tap on that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time I go live over here and when new content is added to the channel. Until next time, stay safe, everybody. Stay encouraged. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.